Damian Lillard obviously traded from the Portland Trailblazers to the Milwaukee Bucks leading into the season this year. Damian Lillard's number 2 in voting for guards, which you would expect to change perhaps if he went to Los Angeles or to New York. Milwaukee is a similar, albeit even smaller, market than Portland.
Yeah,
but
it is.
The Milwaukee Bucks have 40 national TV games.
And the Blazers now have one that's already been played.
No, they picked up one.
Oh, they did?
They have the one that they had was taken off.
Yeah,
so the
TNT wiped away their
Miami Heat
game,
which was going to be when Dame potentially came back with the Heat, which but ESPN has now picked up the Milwaukee Portland game in Portland.
Oh, great.
So
that'll be awesome.
That is their one national TV game this year.
That'd be great to see.
They have some NBA TV games, which are not national. People can say what they want. Those are not national TV games. The Milwaukee Bucks, however, have a truckload. Why? Because they have a reigning MVP candidate. They have a reigning title winner. They have a reigning top 15 player of all time on their roster. And they are a title contender this year. So what has happened? The eyes of the world have been opened up to, hey, that Damian Lillard character, pretty good.
Yeah, it's amazing when you're paired with the star, what that bump will get you.
And not just paired with the star, but the visibility. And the reason why I say that is, number 1 in front of him is not Trae Young. It's not Donovan Mitchell. It's not Tyrese Maxey. It's not LaMelo Ball. It's Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah,
by a substantial margin.
I think his bump in exposure has been huge this year, and that's one thing the in-season tournament has done for him. But I also think that this is a product of Damian Lillard just getting out of the West, where he doesn't have Luka Doncic, Steph Curry, SGA, Harden, Kyrie, Ja. All of those guys are leading in the West.
Yeah, if you look at Dame's
Anthony
total
Edwards
votes,
too.
Dame's total votes is 955,751. That would put him 4th in the West.
Yep.
Behind Luka, Steph, and SGA.
In that, I mean, one part of it is Portland could never do what Milwaukee is doing for him, which is pair him with a star like
and
that.
Be on national TV
and
40 times.
Actually keep that star in town, LaMarcus Aldridge. But had LaMarcus stuck around, then you would have seen the Blazers on national TV a heck of a lot more, right? If Giannis have to come to Portland, the Blazers would have been on national TV a heck of a lot more. This is just a product of he got exactly what he was looking for when he went to the Milwaukee Bucks. If he was in Miami, he would have gotten the same kind of bump too. He got exposure by that restart of just being on TV and being on a contender. And that's why you don't blame a guy for wanting to be on a contender.
No.
And it's not chasing anything. It's, man, he gave a lot of time here in a lot of really good years. This isn't even his best year statistically that he's ever had.
He's taken a legitimate second fiddle, or to quote LaMarcus Aldridge's mom, second banana roll.
Yep.
To Giannis Antetokounmpo.
And his averages are down. Like his field goal percentage, his 3-point percentage is down by a couple of percentage points. I mean, he's not having the best year he's ever had yet. Here are the most votes that we've seen him get in the All-Star in this first round of balloting. And it's deserving. I mean, this is kind of what everybody was saying. Damian Lillard should get this kind of respect when he was in Portland. It's good that he's finally getting it. It just kind of sucks that you're sitting there going, he's never going to get that here. He was never going to get that.
Not without bringing a superstar here.
Nope.
And that's what it takes. And even more than that, the Tyrese Halliburton of it all is what really just throws me sideways, because this is what we were talking about earlier. The how the NBA has done things so horribly wrong. Tyrese Halliburton's number 1 because the NBA gave him love. They uplifted him. They put him on the platform, and he delivered. I don't care about the Minnesota Timberwolves, but Anthony Edwards, Karl-Anthony Towns, and Rudy Gobert should be on TV more.
Yeah.
Oklahoma City and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams should be on TV more. We should not be subjected to the Knicks and Bulls on TV because of market size.
I think that one thing when it comes to the NBA kind of picking and choosing, like Trae Young is a great example of this. Like they went all in on that one year where the Hawks went to New York. He gave the bow at Madison Square Garden, and that elevated Trae Young to, in like the fans' eyes, it's like, well, I don't know. Sure, Trae Young seems he's pretty good still, and so people put Trae Young in the front of their minds. Trae Young is a good player.
Mm-hmm.
He is not the guy that should be third in All-Star voting in the Western or Eastern Conference guards. He just shouldn't be. I mean, you take a look at some of these guys that are just below him. Maxey is that guy. And it's kind of stunning that he's not, but Philly fans, they don't care about basketball till later in the year anyway. So that kind of explains that one away. Like Maxey should be up there. Heck, even Donovan Mitchell is playing better than Trae Young is right now. So I understand that the incredible one, Jalen Brunson, is still sitting down there
with the New York
just
market,
below those guys with the New York market, and he's sixth in the Western or Eastern Conference in guards with the New York market behind him. It's like, does anybody care about the Knicks right now?
Meanwhile, Boston has 5 players in the top 10 in both.
But Trae Young is as high as he is because most of the people my age, when we think of Trae, we think of Oklahoma Trae, where he was just lighting it up through that entire March Madness.
That's crazy.
Or all of the highlight tape footage. Because like when you watch Trae Young, you're right. He's not better than those guards. But he has a lot of really cool highlight plays. And what do people my age watch now? They go on Twitter and they watch the hoop highlight video.
And that one is to the point of the marketing of the NBA is going awry in that it is wholly highlight driven. It no longer is driven by the game, the way the players play, and help their teams truly impact the game. Like they're going with how many highlight-worthy plays can you have? Like there was a highlight of the Victor Wembanyama dunk where he went up and over the top against Boston. They lost that game by 20. But what was the NBA's response to that? How many impressions they got?
They sent out a NBA Communications PR release of that clip. If it keeps going, is going to be the #1 clip in NBA history. 88.8 million.
Derek White,
where he like finger roll dunks it.
Yeah,
it's a fun play and everything. Social media impressions don't mean anything. The NFL is not out here touting social media impressions. You're touting that because you're getting the crap kicked out of you across everything else. That's why you're touting it. And that's why you've got to pivot. And Will saying his generation, we only do snippets. It's because the NBA is, you're not doing snippets of the NFL.
We do, but
they do.
Yeah.
No,
but with so many games over, and it's something that Major League Baseball could benefit from a little bit more. Their aversion to social media is wild to me.
Yes,
that's why they don't grow.
But it is how a lot of the youth, like, I don't think they could tell you what the standings are, but they're taking in the product, and the NBA has figured out a way to monetize that more than, hey, watch 30 teams over, 82 games for 5.5 months, right? And they found the easier way to monetize.
That's the problem. The easier way is not the sustainable way.
Right. But the popularity of basketball has in the NBA has gone up.
But it hasn't translated. And that I think the biggest part of that is their inability to market and or sell more than just the player at that time.
Yeah.
There's not a long haul strategy that they have invested in. And this is not a now thing. This is a 10, 12 year thing that they have failed to do this. And they have leaned, particularly the LeBron era, where they saw Kobe and they went, oh, we should market players.
Well, the NFL is definitely doing that now more than ever before.
Sure.
Like Tyreek Hill is the prime example of that. Like Tyreek Hill, he and Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, those guys, the receivers are the guys that those highlight reels that a lot of
they moved away even from the quarterbacks
are taking in. They are through the short snippet highlights now.
But again, the sustainability of that is not there.
Well,
but how is it not there if the NBA has closed that gap larger and quicker than anybody that we've seen before as far as popularity of the game and being able to increase revenues as much?
As it stands right now with the marketability and the sales side of things, the reason why this stuff is being touted is because they can't sell anything else to the TV companies. The thought right now and the process right now was a year ago that the revenues would triple. They are now at the point of like, maybe they'll double. Like
Well, a lot of that has to do with the regional networks too.
But beyond-
of
beyond
the NBA
that-
teams and the regional sports networks
and a big part of that regional, what is the purpose of the regional?
is for every game to be aired.
But not just that, to drive the story, to drive the narratives, to build teams, to build brands beyond players.
I agree.
They have not found that substitute to do that. They have
leaned
not invested in it.
Too far into the individual, not enough into the team
And
aspect.
now
And I do agree in that that has gotten
They're
lost
paying
in the
for it.
sauce. But are they?
Yes.
Though with the record television deal again.
The NBA is not going to. Talking to people that work in that industry who've worked on these deals, they're very confident on the deal that's coming up. And I think Mark Cuban addressed this too the other day. The deal that's coming up, everybody knows is going to be real money,
Absolutely.
but it's going to be, number one, shorter than the last one. It's not going to be a 10-year deal or a 10-year deal or a 7-year deal. It's probably going to be a 5-year deal, give or take. Wavy hands. It's the deal after that, and the amount of things that can change between now and then, both good and bad, has a lot of people scared.
And I think that has more to do with the television industry than it does the actual sport of basketball, because the NFL is king, the NBA is second, college football is third. Like that's the pecking order.
Yeah.
Like as far as the way the TV companies see it, and that's why we're seeing the consolidation in college football, is because the television networks, they're not making money the way they used to. They're having to trim fat left and right.
Otherwise known as the Pac-12 and ACC.
Well, they're not. They don't have the ability. They haven't adjusted at all. Like we're talking about the NBA adjusting. Like the adjustment of television was so slow that they can't even figure out. What platform are we? Are we going to be? Are we all going to go individually, have our own streaming apps, and that's the way that we operate moving forward?
The DTC, the direct to consumer. That's the way the stuff is going. And we just saw ESPN spend a bunch of money on the non-big sports this morning. They just signed a massive deal with the non-football.
NCAA championships outside of football. So it's in men's basketball. So it's women's basketball and every other sport.
And it was a truckload of money over a long period of time. Why? Because they wanted to lock in a rate.
Just like the ACC.
So that they can't run away when things change.
Yep.
Because that's the reality of where it's going. Yeah? Real serious talk? No? Okay.